Eclipse season is coming to a close, and with the equinox and the beginning of Libra season this week, balance is being restored to the cosmos and to our lives down here on planet Earth. Kinda. Emphasis on kinda, because a lot of the changes and shifts and upsets and upheavals of eclipse season can still be reverberating within the cosmos. We are fresh off that solar eclipse in Virgo, which was on the south node. So there could have been a lot around releasing, letting go, surrendering, feeling powerless over certain situations. And that energy is still hanging thick in the air. And so it's not to say that the moment that we are through with the final eclipse in the eclipse season, that life magically returns back to normal, because for many individuals, the events of these eclipses, the Pisces lunar eclipse September 7th and the Virgo solar eclipse September 21st, as well as the window between these two eclipses, brought events that have created long-lasting, significant changes. And there is no going backwards. We must evolve. We cannot decline. And the ask of Libra season is, how is it that we can find balance within our lives to integrate these shifts and to transition into this new season of our lives? And to know that we are not alone as we do so. The energy of the sun shifting into Libra does spotlight our partnerships, our relationships, our connections, and collaborations of all sorts. And with this week's Grand Air Trine linking the Libra sun with Uranus and Gemini and Pluto and Aquarius, it is a reminder that we are more powerful when we join forces, when we work together. Even if that's just venting in the comments below about what your eclipse season had in store and the cosmic chaos it could have brought. I have a dear client of mine, Bella, who once shared with me, she was like, Haley, it's bad, but it's astrology good. In that sometimes we have certain events that are bad within our lives, but if we feel seen or validated by the astrology, as well as other individuals who are experiencing some of the themes in the same way, it does make us feel less alone. It does remind us that this will pass. It does create a sense of collaboration and community, being able to walk with other souls who may be navigating something similar. And that may not take place in the comment section, of course. That could take place via support groups or outsourcing or collaborating or delegating. But it's important to have discernment as you do so, because there are some snakes in the grass, so to speak. And I want to be so clear, because it is never my intention in any of my work, in any of the content that I create, to ever inspire fear, to ever inspire paranoia. The central focus of Magic Monday is how it is that you can co-create with the cosmos, to understand these celestial seasons, not to feel powerless over the cosmos, but to feel inspired on how it is that you're going to work with and navigate through these themes. It's never my intention for you to walk away from any of my forecasts and feel scared and powerless. In fact, quite the opposite, especially with Mars, the planet of action and assertion, entering its domicile of Scorpio. This is a time to remember your power, but it's also a time to be very discerning around where you place your energy and who you place your trust with. Because the Libra sun will oppose Neptune in Aries. And one thing about Libra energy is it's very beautiful, it's very charismatic, it's very harmonious. And it's going to be important for you to really honor your intuition, because something can look nice, sound nice, smell nice, what have you, but not feel right. Like words can be smooth and someone could be sugar talking. You could still get a vibe around, something feels off. And a lot of times that is there to protect you. And it's not to say that we should just decide to hermit away and not trust anyone. It's just saying practice discernment. If you get an off vibe, no matter how glittery it may look, trust that. If someone's words or what they are portraying is different than how it is that you're energetically perceiving it, note that as data. That could be to protect you. Mars in Scorpio is very shrewd. It's very strategic. Mars is how we defend ourselves. Mars is how we assert ourselves. Mars is how we get our way. And with Mars entering Scorpio, a water sign, a very intuitive psychic sign, it's a reminder that one of the best ways that you can protect yourself, that you can defend yourself, that you can assert yourself, that you could get what it is that you desire, is honoring the energetic and emotional undercurrents of any sort of situation. Where again, On a surface, we're talking about this, or we're being told that something is this, but there's something lurking. There's something beneath the surface. Or, this doesn't feel right. You're saying this and you're portraying this, but I'm sensing this. Note the mismatch, because that is there to protect you. Your intuition is there to protect you. And it's important to know that navigating this world does take protection. And this is the sort of week that you're going to want to have your guard up, not in a paranoid way, in a strategic way, in a shrewd way. If something feels off, trust it. There could be undercurrents of competitive energy that you are tapping into, or jealous energy, or hatred, or rage even beneath the surface. But again, with all of this Libra energy, there could be certain things that have a shiny, glittery veneer, but there's something much darker lingering beneath the surface. And you could even feel this in other arenas of life, just certain things that feel like a hologram, or it's being sold as this, but energetically, there's something different beneath the surface. There's certain things that are happening in the shadows. There's certain things that are happening in secret. And so your ask in Navigate this week is to not feed fear. I want to be so clear in that. Mars squaring Pluto is no walk in the park. We will deeply talk about it. But it's important to know that your energy is your currency. And when you are outraged, when you are fearful, that makes your energy more susceptible to be controlled, to be harvested. It's going to be very important this week to be mindful where you are feeding your energy, because with the square to Pluto, things can get obsessive, and you can find that you're investing a lot of energy into something, and even a lot of emotional energy into something, getting very outraged or being very fearful of something, and thus feeding your energy, feeling less and less powerful as you do. There's an ask this week to call your power back, to alchemize anything that is frustrating, anything that is making you feel mad or upset, and really alchemize it towards your own intention. I always think of Scorpio energy with that stinger, right? Scorpio is the scorpion. And just that energy of focused intent around what are you putting energy towards, because there's going to be a lot of pulls on your energy, whether it's people wanting to compete with you, people trying to hate on you, people trying to take you down, or just like the darker forces of this world feeling like they're ensnaring into you. There's going to be a lot of pulls on your energy. And it's going to be very important to redirect your energy towards what makes you feel powerful, towards the best usage of your time and energy, and to call back anything that is not in alignment with that. As well as knowing if any of you had your lives turned upside down during eclipse season, this is an energy around remembering your resilience, remembering that you are a phoenix. The eclipse season may have made you burst in flames, but this is the time that you rise, that you call your power back from that sort of situation, from anything that made you feel powerless, and you direct your focus intent around where you're going now, what it is that you desire now. Again, when it comes to eclipses, there's no going backwards. There's only going forwards. And of course, grieve what has fallen away and feel what is transpiring currently. But with Mars squaring Pluto, know that there's a lot of individuals and entities and organizations who can benefit from you or manipulate you when you feel hopeless over a situation. And so this week is around stepping into your power, reaching a place of acceptance and surrender, with us being off the heels of the solar eclipse in Virgo, collaborating with other individuals in order to feel less alone as we navigate through this period with the Libra sun and the air Grand Trine, but also having discernment with our energy, who we share our energy with, and where we put our energy towards. So as always, we will break down everything that you need to know about this week's astrology. But before we do, that's a lot. That's a lot. We're only this far along in Magic Monday, and we're already talking about energy harvesting. We're going to need a beverage. I'm over here struggling. Any of you who get fake nails ever know that cans are a struggle. Cans are a struggle when you have fake nails. Yes, victory is mine. So take a step inside my cosmic cafe. Now that we have conquered the can, if I can conquer the can, we can conquer anything this week, even with Mars squaring Pluto. But this week in the Cosmic Cafe, we are serving up our Libra beverage. This is from Zodiac Water Hydrology. The flavor is blueberry pitaya. It has vitamins B6, D, chromium, and calcium. Let's try it. Delightful. Just as delightful as Libra energy is. So I suppose it's appropriate for the Libra flavor. I, for one, am grateful that it has those vitamins infused. I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but I am under the weather. I am sick. Again, it seems like I was just sick, and I've never been someone who has gotten sick very often. Like typically my immune system is such an icon. And this year, my immune system has been flopping. But I will say, every time I've gotten sick, it's because I was traveling and it was right after pulling an all-nighter for work. So I think my body is just mad at me for doing too much. And this is how it's getting my attention of that. Oh, the joys of being a 6th house sun and Virgo moon and rising. That mind-body connection is there. For sure. So please excuse the sound of my voice. I am back from my eclipse season road trip, the traveling in question that I'm referring to. I did vlog, which was super fun. You can find the vlog of the various stops that I had in the road trip because, my goodness, adventures were had. I'm talking hiking in the pouring rain during a thunderstorm in Colorado. I'm talking almost getting stranded because we got a flat tire halfway through our journey on a Sunday. So all of the tire shops were closed. I'm talking finding the most magical astrological exhibit at Aria, Las Vegas. It was such a journey. That's the only way that I could possibly explain what my life has been. These past 2 weeks has been an utter journey, but I feel so incredibly grateful that I got to explore. It was so fascinating driving west across the US and seeing the changing terrain and nature as we went across and getting to connect with so many people. And it would have never been my decision, like by my own volition, to go on a road trip during eclipse season, just because the energies do tend to be a bit fraught and a bit heightened. And while I wouldn't have elected for the timing, I do feel that it was a blessing in disguise. I do feel that it was all in divine design with North Node Pisces, because navigating that eclipse season, just connecting deeply with nature, going on these really long hikes and meeting all sorts of lovely people across the country and not being on my phone and just being very engaged with my body and within the present moment. I think it was actually quite helpful in navigating that period of time. And essentially the reason I was going on the road trip to begin with is actually quite an exciting update, was to get my new vehicle. I am now the proud owner of a new vehicle. Her name is Cardinal because she's red, and because the car was my great uncle's car, who I visited when I flew to Iowa. It was his car, but due to health and just the transition within his life, he generously gave it to me. And he's a huge St. Louis Cardinals fan. So I want to name it Cardinal to honor his love for his favorite team, as well as we know in astrology, cardinal is an astrological term, modality associated with signs that start seasons. So for example, with the sun entering Libra in this week, Libra is a cardinal sign because it starts fall in the northern hemisphere and starts spring in the southern hemisphere. Cardinal signs start seasons. So I also wanted to weave that into the car just to inspire this new era of mine of starting and initiating and meeting challenges, which we encountered many on the road, but I handled all of them. Like, it really reminded me of my own strength and ability to figure things out and to get things done and to make things happen. And I feel like I needed that reminder within myself. And this red car, for some reason, has unlocked this boldness, courage, can-do spirit out of me truly. And the reason it was so last minute is essentially a crisis had come up. So time was very much of the essence. So that's why I dropped everything in September to go on this road trip, which of course, like I'm so incredibly grateful to have a new vehicle. Those of you who watch Magic Monday know I've been rocking with my 2002 Honda Accord. That's been the only car that I've ever had. And I was very attached to that car, truly. As well as, of course, the circumstances of my receiving this vehicle. There's elements of that are very sad. So yeah, so that's what's new with me. What's new with you? I would love to know. You can check out my TikTok to check out those vlogs if you want to get caught up on all of the intricacies of the road trip, because it simply is too much to put within the Cosmic Cafe. And we have quite a bit of astrology to get into. So let's get into it. Let's take it into Vibe Check of the Week. So here on Magic Monday, we have a segment called Vibe Check of the Week, which helps simplify all of this astrology into a digestible, bite-sized scenario. And this is a hypothetical situation that I'm never implying is going to literally play out in the week ahead. Sometimes that happens and I'm shook every time, but it's meant to just essentially be a metaphoric storytelling device to decode some of these aspects and energies into something that's more understandable, at least as it relates to navigating this physical real life experience. Down here on planet Earth. This week's vibe check is the following scenario. We will say that you have a spouse. Your spouse's name is Tom. And Tom has worked for the same company for about 15 years or so. And it just so happens that this is the company's 30-year anniversary party. So the company has been established for 30 years. And as they do every single year, there is a gala to celebrate. And every single year since Tom has worked for this company, you are Tom's plus one. Of course, you are so proud of your spouse and what he has achieved within this company. You are Tom's right-hand man, hype person, cheerleader. Like, of course, you are going to stand by your man at this company party, as you always do. You go to this event every single year since Tom has worked for this company. And because it's been so long, there's been certain dynamics that you are now accustomed to. One particularly that never sits right with you. It's all syrupy and sweet on the surface, but something sinister lurks beneath. And so we will say that as long as Tom has worked there, his coworker Candace has also worked there. And there is something about the way that Candace moves that never sits right with you. If you were to just take the words she says, like view it as though you're reviewing the script of a movie, she says all the right things. She seems sweet, but energetically, it never sits right with you. It's so over the top that it just never feels genuine and authentic. The ways that she comes up to you and just is over the top around you two are just the best couple, and you are so beautiful. And your partner works so hard, and it's like all of this charm and all of this honey. But beneath the surface, there's just a vibe that you're like, ooh, you don't like me. Ooh, you actually want me dead. Ooh, you actually hate me. Ooh, you want what I have. You covet what I have. There's something beneath the surface. It's an interaction that never feels right to you. And when you mention it to your spouse says, I don't know, she seems really nice to you. I don't know what you're talking about. Again, not everybody can sense and feel the dynamics beneath the surface. And you have gaslit yourself for years around it's all in your head. It's all in your head. She's sweet. She's sweet. She didn't mean to cut you out of the conversation when she was talking about an inside joke with your spouse. She didn't mean to, assuming the best of this individual. But going into this 30th anniversary party, you do have a pit in your stomach because you already know that she's going to be there, and there's just part of the interaction with her that never sits right with you. So you prepare for this anniversary party, so you're preparing for war. So you're preparing for battle. Okay, this is alive this week with Mars squaring Pluto, is this energy of battle, conflict. But much of this may be beneath the surface, where again, you look at the script and it's like, what do you mean? This person is just complimenting you and complimenting your marriage. But it's like, ooh, but there's looks, there's digs, look deeper. Are you looking beneath the surface? It's not what we see, it's what we feel. And you're sick of gaslighting yourself due to the growth that you have done on yourself. You are going into this 30th anniversary party differently than how you walked into the 20th and how you walked into the 15th and all of that. You're going in refusing to allow this individual to make you feel less than. Because typically that's how you feel walking away from these situations. Just Candace has a way of just like worming her way in your skin and just making you feel very insecure. And you refuse to consent to feeling inferior at the hands of this individual. And so you go in discerning, you go in aware. And so as expected, you walk into this anniversary party by Tom's side and Candace beelines over to the two of you. And there's that over the top charm. Oh, you two are so cute. And oh, Tom talks so much about you. And oh, this and oh, that. And you're just kind of like grimacing, just waiting for it because you know it's coming. And here it is. She says, oh, I love your hair. Is it highlighted? And you say, yes, I got highlights. And she says, oh, I wish I could get highlights. I just am way too busy. I have way too many responsibilities. I work way too hard. It would be so vapid for me to sit for hours at the salon. But for you, they look so good. And you can see it. You can feel that dig beneath the surface. You can feel what she is implying. You can feel how she wants you to compete with her. And this time you just see it for what it is. And you recognize that you would be feeding this individual more of your energy. You think about all of these parties and you're like, I have given this person so much of my energy over the years. I have thought about how I can get this person to like me. I felt how they didn't like me or they thought certain things about me. And my strategy was to try to kill her with kindness or be over the top with her, figure out why doesn't she like me and correct the problem. But now I just see the behavior for what it is around. This is not a me thing. And this is someone who wants to make me feel inferior, wants to dig at me, wants to make me feel insecure, which I've fed into for years and years and years and no more. And so rather than doing what it is that you would typically do around either getting very defensive or trying to dig deeper into the dynamic, trying to win this person's validation and approval of you, which by this point you know is never going to come, you decide to just see it for what it is. Around this is someone who maybe wants what I have with my partner. This is someone who sees me as a threat in some sort of way. And this is their attempts to say something to make me feel bad about myself. And again, it's not like the cruelest thing ever. Oh, you have time to go get highlights, but you can just feel the dig there around what she is implying. And again, what she's assuming about you, because you are someone who works very hard. You have your own responsibilities. You have your own things going on. It's not like all you're doing is sitting in a salon chair. And part of you wants to correct the narrative around, no, actually just took this many hours. And no, actually I do this and that. But you realize just that it's feeding the dynamic. It's feeding the dynamic more. And so you're at a choice point. You could go low, right? You could say, well, highlights wouldn't look good on you anyway. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise that you don't have the time in your schedule. You could try to defend yourself around, actually, I work really hard and actually I've worked really hard to be able to have the money in order to get highlights and actually this, having to defend yourself to this individual. But instead, you just let it slide off of you like water off a duck's back, where you just don't even internalize it. You don't even feel the need to defend yourself. You know how hard you work. You don't have to defend that to anyone. You know who you are. You know your schedule. You know how hard you work. You don't need to prove it to this individual. So instead, you just let it go and you giggle and you say, well, if time ever opens up in your schedule, let me know and I'll give you the card to my hairstylist. It should only take about 3 hours. And then you excuse yourself from the conversation. You decide, I'm not engaging in this. I'm not doing this game with you. I've given you so much of my energy. I've tried to befriend you. I've tried to prove myself to you, tried to insult you. And I'm just realizing this is not what I want to put my energy towards. I want to be here to celebrate my partner. And I want to also connect with other coworkers at this gala, because it's not just this individual who is there. This is someone who has taken the lion's share of your energy at these events, because this person just has a way of singling you out, going straight up to you and just ensnaring you within this dynamic and just wanting a lot of your energy, wanting a lot of your attention, wanting your spouse energy and attention and feeding off of that. And it made you not be able to really connect with other individuals, but you make a conscious effort here. I'm not engaging with this. I'm not doing this with you. And because of that, you end up connecting with some really wonderful, genuine people who remind you that it's safe to connect with individuals. This person made your guard go up because it left you with so many mixed emotions where you're like, do they like me? Do they hate me? Do they approve of me? Do they want what I have? Like, life is way too short for those sort of dynamics that you walk away and you're just like, what was that? What was that? Where it's like, okay, they said all the right things, but I also kind of feel like they hate me. Or romantically, they act like they like me in person and then I don't hear from them. Like those mixed messages. Allow any sort of mixed messages that you get to be a no. To be a no. If someone's saying one thing and doing another, or energetically showing up as something, it's a no. I don't need to do this with you. I can clock it for what it is and I don't need to feed into it. If someone is saying this, but their actions are giving maybe, it's a no. Maybe is a no. With Mars and Scorpio, it's important to have shrewd intention around what we are moving towards, what it is that we desire. What we are moving towards, what it is that we desire, and to recognize how powerful our energy is. What are we feeding it towards? Are we feeding it towards lukewarm dynamics? Maybe sort of dynamics. People who say one thing but do another. People who say one thing but their energy tells something different. Maybe is a no. But the reason these sort of dynamics are so sinister is because for many individuals, they can play into familiar grooves within our own responses. Around the hot and cold treatment or behavior sometimes ensnares us because we want to earn the approval again. If someone is dismissive to us, cold towards us, mean towards us, and then other times is very over the top kind, we can feel like we need to perform. We can feel like we need to lock in and do whatever is necessary in order to get treated in that more favorable way. And this goes so far beyond these dynamics. Like it can even go back to our upbringing, back to our childhood, and this desire to be approved. If you approve of me, then I approve of me. And you realize on this 30th anniversary, I don't need Candace's approval. I approve of myself. This is weird. This dynamic is weird. This competitive thing is weird. I don't do weird. This is not what I desire. I need to move towards what it is that I do desire, which is genuine connections, genuine conversations. And so you have that focused intent at this dinner party. You stay away from Candace, even though she tries to just ensnare you and pull you in. You laser focus, connect with other individuals, and you make some really lovely connections. Again, with the energy of the air Grand Trine, other individuals can inspire us, empower us, electrify us, innovate us, and leave us feeling charged up, excited. Life is too short for lukewarm or energies where you have a pit in your stomach and you're like, did they like me? Did they hate me? Again, it digs into something so deep, into our very survival. Like sometimes these sort of dynamics, I know it seems silly, even if it's just with your spouse's coworker or with someone that you're dating, it digs into our survival mechanisms where we can feel like if this person does not approve of me, if I don't get that favorable behavior, if they don't validate me, if I don't defend myself to them so that they see me in the right way, then I feel fundamentally unsafe. And that ensnares me deeper into this toxic dynamic because I just feel like if only I could perform or get them to understand, then I would get what it is that I desire. But all it does is just ensnare us deeper, and you're sick of being Candace's web. You're sick of it. You realize, oh, there is no end goal. There is no day in which Candace ultimately says that she completely approves of us and completely validates us and completely engages in the dynamic in a way that doesn't leave us feeling weird. That will never come. And believing the fantasy, like that day will eventually come, just brings you in deeper and trying harder, performing more, defending yourself more. Meanwhile, just feeding this dynamic that at a certain point you have to recognize Candace is just a person. Anyone who makes your nervous system feel unsafe, it's a no. It's a no. Mixed messages, it's a no. Maybe it's a no. Mars and Scorpio, we have to be so intentional around what we're putting our energy towards in order to move towards things that are a full body yes, a passionate yes. And this dinner really illuminates that you don't need to have your guard up in every sort of dynamic. Of course, you're cautious, you're discerning, you're not just opening up to every single one of Tom's coworkers. But if you were overly in your defense mode, if you did not let anyone in, if you looked at everybody like they were potential Candace, someone who is just going to try to dig at you and be nice to lure you in and then be mean to like cut you down, you would be missing out on the genuine connections that you did find at this dinner party. You end up talking with Tom's coworker, Trisha, and she has you laughing in stitches, telling the story of what happened in the lunchroom the other week. Or Tom's coworker, Marquise, being super interested in the music that you make and wanting to download and stream it. And I'm so sorry, I'm just like dying over here of coughing attacks. So if I'm just getting progressively redder as I go through the vibe check, that is why. Oh, being sick. Love it. Love it. You would be missing out if you walked away from this experience with Candace thinking people are not to be trusted. Yes, sometimes when people manipulate us, when they betray us, when they take advantage of our good-hearted nature, our self-protective strategy will be to completely shut out everybody, especially if you are someone who always tries to see the best in other individuals and wants to keep the peace even at your own detriment, who will do anything to perform and acquiesce and defend and whatever the situation warrants, that you will not even take into account your own boundaries, your own limits. It is helpful to learn that not everybody is to be trusted. You know, discernment is there for a reason. It's important to be protective of your energy. It's sacred. But also knowing that sometimes when we're overly in that self-protective energy, we can feel like no one is to be trusted. We can completely lock everybody out, in which case we wouldn't have this wonderful new connection with Trisha and this wonderful connection with Marquise. You would miss out on that. So it's not about deciding that all people are evil and no one's to be trusted, even if we are going through something where someone betrayed us, someone manipulated us, someone was weird towards us. The solution is not to shut out humanity altogether, as tempting as that can be. I feel like the shadow side of humanity could feel like it's on full display right now, with us being post-solar eclipse on the South Node and having Mars square Pluto this week. We can feel like no one is to be trusted. And in fact, there's wonderful people out there who are to be trusted. There are souls who will lift you up. There are souls who will inspire you. There will be souls that walk with you. There will be real life angels who materialize within your world. And sometimes when we have been done dirty in some sort of way, we completely lock ourselves away from anything because we perceive everything as a potential threat. And so this week's astrology asks for that discernment. Again, if energetically something feels weird, something feels off, something feels like an energetic mismatch, you're saying this, but I'm feeling this, your words sound sincere, but your energy tells a different story, know that that information is there for your own discernment, for you to be mindful, for you to clock the data as necessary, but to still remain open to connections and collaborations that can fuse with you and make you feel more powerful. So we'll go ahead and take it into our day-by-day analysis, starting with September 22nd. But before we do, I want to highlight, when I mention specific times, I'm speaking in reference to the PDT, Pacific Daylight Time zone. Please adjust to your local time if you are located elsewhere in the world than I am. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the astrology for Monday, September 22nd. So this is the equinox. I want to start there, in which the hours of daylight and nighttime are completely balanced, regardless of where it is that you are located on the globe, and how beautifully aligned to kick off the season of balance, Libra, as represented by the scales of Libra season. And so there could be an energy around bringing yourself back into balance. Whatever could have felt like it was torn upside down during eclipse season, there could be a call moving into Libra season and finding some sense of ease and harmony, even if that's just within your life around maybe eclipse season was super busy with work and this is a time to balance out other arenas of your life, or maybe it required you to hermit because things were so intense. It's a time to rebalance your life and be open to social connections. It's going to differ for all of us, but there can be this ask to ease into moderation as well as to balance out whatever in our life feels like this, lopsided, and to bring ourselves into balance, as well as to give ourselves permission to enjoy our lives. You know, with Virgo season, it was around efficiency and productivity and routine. And with the energy of Libra, it's around really cultivating and curating a life well lived with beautiful environments that you are around and really lovely connections that you savor. This is absolutely a spotlight of Libra season, is our relationships, the balance of self and other, and knowing in any sort of connection and relationship, there is balance, right? Like within the vibe check, you may have wanted to do other things with your time and with this evening, but because you want to support your spouse, you are going to this individual's company work event. Relationships require a lot of those trade-offs, but with the sun not dignified in Libra, it's important to note that the sun is in its fall in Libra. It exalts in Aries, the sign of self. Sun is around ego and identity. It performs very well in Aries. The sign of self in the sign archetypally that's associated with relationships, you can see how the influence is a little bit more muted. And knowing that the cost of connections is sometimes being temporarily inconvenienced, picking someone up from the airport, going to their work event. We have those trade-offs. There is a balancing act when it comes to the relationships within our life, but it's ensuring that you are not sacrificing too much of yourself or losing yourself only within the reference of who it is that you are for others and to others, which can show up, yes, within our interpersonal connections, but also how we are approved of by others, how other people like us, finding our sense of self in how we are perceived by others, which is a dangerous game. This week's astrology is a dangerous game because it's all well and good to find your sense of confidence and your sense of self around, they like me, they really, really like me. But what happens if they don't? What happens if they don't? That makes you vulnerable when you are contingent upon other people's validation. It makes you susceptible to feeling like you have to do more and perform more in order to secure that validation, in order to secure that approval. And slowly but surely, you will see your boundaries erode and you will feel your fundamental sense of self erode as well. The sun, when it enters Libra today at 11:19 a.m., tomorrow it promptly opposes Neptune, who is sitting at 0 degrees Aries. And Neptune is around boundaries blurring and dissolving. And so sometimes we can watch ourselves playing a role that is not true to self, like truly feeling like we have to play into somebody's fantasy of who we should be, which can be leveraged helpfully. It's important to know that Libra is a very intelligent sign. Do not underestimate Libra energy whatsoever. Yes, it's charismatic, it's charming, it wants to keep the peace, but Libra is a cardinal air sign. Cardinal is concerned with initiating, and air is around social dynamics, communication, and the mind. So Libra energy is very gifted at being able to read people or read situations in order to charm, in order to persuade, in order to compromise, what have you. There's an energy around making things happen via words, charm, mind, intellect, things like this. And so sometimes when we are interacting with someone, we either consciously or unconsciously play into the role of who that person wants us to be. And that's very tempting right now, the Libra sun building to oppose Neptune Aries, which happens tomorrow. But the danger of that is sometimes we can get lost in the sauce with that, around playing the role, around being the fantasy or the dream person for this individual, and losing where the fantasy stops and we begin. Or when it comes to some of those sinister dynamics with sun opposite Neptune, would they like me more if I was like this? Would they like me more if I was like this? Not always being aware at how you are getting further and further from your own sense of self and authenticity and trueness in this effort to feel liked and to be approved of and to feel popular, what have you. And so there could be an ability with sun opposite Neptune to play into that, but just ensuring that you remain in control of it, around having a definitive aim. Of course, we all have situations where a little schmoozing, a little charming, a little persuading, a little flirting helps us out. But it's really important not to lose yourself within that, because it's a dangerous game to identify with how you are perceived by others, because it is simply not how it works to be liked and favored and popular all of the time. It just isn't. And so it's dangerous when you find your own sense of confidence and sense of self around, well, everybody likes me and I'm approved of here. And it's also important that when it comes to our interpersonal connections, there's not an energy around wanting to keep the peace or be what the other person wants, so much so that you're brushing things under the rug, not addressing these sinister dynamics that are building. You know, there was a subtle energy within the vibe check around there's this energy energy and I'm feeling gaslit by my partner because Tom's telling me it doesn't exist. And so I'm feeling not heard. And maybe in past years, I would have brushed it on the rug. I just want to keep the peace. I just want us all to get along. But with Sun opposite Neptune, it could be erosive to our own sense of self and even us trusting ourselves. If someone tells us that the sky is purple and no, you're crazy, you're imagining it. And it's like, no, I know what I felt. And sometimes we can take how other people perceive us. For example, Tom being like, no, you're being paranoid, what have you, and think, okay, I'm just being paranoid. While you are fundamentally eroding the warning flags, the red flags that are coming up for you. Like this could also be an energy around allowing how other people perceive you to soak into your very being and make you feel more disconnected with self. It's like cognitive dissonance around I'm being told the sky is purple. And if I find my sense of self around how other people view me or what other people say, eventually I will disregard my own senses around the sky is blue. You know, we don't always trust our psychic sense and our intuitive sense. And it can make us more susceptible to being gaslit or being undermined or being not heard, what have you, because we can keep getting this nudge. But in this effort to keep the peace and you're being too much, you're being dramatic, you're being crazy, like parroting what other people have told you, you could start to erode your own trust in yourself. And so there's an energy to trust yourself, to not lose yourself in an effort to please others, in an effort to be validated by others, around really being able to come back into your own self and your own knowing around, no, the sky is blue. No, I'm catching a vibe. You don't need to see it my way, but that doesn't mean I need to invalidate my side of the scale. That's just what I want you to be conscious of this Libra season, is where it is that there is an imbalance around you feel like you are having to silence yourself. You're feeling you have to suppress yourself. You're feeling you have to play into a certain role. There should be an even exchange. There should be a balance. There should be an appreciation of both parties or both people being able to come as they are, authenticity and all, not feeling like you have to hide certain parts of yourself or fit into a certain mold in order to feel approved of. And other than that, with Libra season, you know, it does get a lot more romantic. It does get a lot more dreamy, and not just in reference to romantic relationships, but also just in terms of our experience of life. We're in a Venusian season. So really balancing out the work with pleasure, really infusing more beauty into your life, watching romantic movies and listening to romantic music and taking yourself out on dates and enjoying the transition into this new season. You know, it's fall in the northern hemisphere, spring in the southern hemisphere. Those are very romantic seasons. So there's an urge to romanticize your life this Libra season. Go out on special dates, either with a special someone or with yourself. I also want to take this opportunity to wish a happy birthday to all of my lovely Libras out there. We simply adore you for your sense of fairness, your sense of justice, your ability to compromise and collaborate, your charm, your wit, your humor, your fascination with history. I've noticed that with a lot of Libras, and I don't know if it's because of the Saturn association. I just know so many Libra placements who either are super obsessed with like old buildings, architecture, or history. I think it's a Saturn influence, but Libras are very intelligent, is very good at being able to infuse their every environment with a little bit more charm, a little bit more loveliness. So I hope that you have a wonderful birthday celebration if you are a Libra. And while the sun is moving into territory that it's not so dignified in, meeting Venus, who's also in territory that it's not so dignified in, Mars is settling into territory that it is incredibly dignified in, Scorpio. And this is a cool drink of water for Mars, who was fighting for its life in the sign Libra. And, you know, with Mars in domicile, there is an emphasis around getting what it is that we want, getting what it is that we desire, and knowing with Libra season, sometimes charm and charisma and flattery can be tools in order to get what it is that we desire. And again, I just want you to be conscious of that, not paranoid. It's not that everybody who's sweet to you and trying to charm you this week is trying to get one over on you or take from you. I just want you to be conscious if you feel like it's not genuine. Because again, it is Libra season. Let's be sweet. Let's be harmonious. Let's work together. But if you feel like it's not genuine, if it feels over the top, if it's just so much that you're like, why does your energy not match? The more you trust your intuition, the more you spot the mismatches in all sorts of ways. So there's an energy around being very shrewd around, yes, what it is that you desire, having very deliberate intent around, this is what I desire, this is what I want, and being unwavering in that, being fully dedicated in that, being maybe flexible in strategy, right? Scorpio energy, it doesn't just attack. It doesn't just act. It observes energetically and emotionally. It tunes in. It kind of like waits in the weeds, right? With the Scorpio energy, it kind of tunes in. It's a bit suspicious. It kind of takes in the environment. And again, being suspicious, being discerning, that is there to protect you. You don't want it to go overboard, in which case you're not open for any new conversation or connection at the work dinner, but it is around being discerning. So you're not spilling your guts to Candace, someone who clearly energetically does not like you and may be looking for an avenue to hurt you or to get you more. So it's just being discerning. And, Scorpio energy, a lot of times we will associate it around, oh, they're so secretive, they're so mysterious, which when you know a lot of Scorpios, that's not always necessarily the case, but it is this energy around they notice things. They notice things. And sometimes the best way to notice things or to have people reveal who they are and their true motives and intentions is to wait in the weeds a bit or to hang back a bit. People will tell on themselves if you let them. And with Mars and Scorpio, it's just being able to honor that data in order to proceed forward. And with Mars and Scorpio, being unwavering and unyielding in what it is that you desire. Of course, not sinking to sinister means. Many people may, with Mars scoring Pluto, like, this is what I want at all costs, being very intentional in your integrity around who you are, but also being very intentional around, this is what I desire. And no matter what, I'm going to get what it is that I desire. That sends a powerful frequency to the universe, that energy of being intentional around what we want. Because with the square to Pluto, it's this energy around, if it didn't work out this time, whatever, I'll try again. I'll pick myself up and try again. I'll rise from the ashes and try again. I will not give up until I move towards what it is that I want, what it is that I desire. That energy of shrewd, deliberate intent that helps you from drifting or being caught into other people's webs around building what it is that they desire or playing into what they want from you, being very intentional. And again, this can show up around goals and ambitions that you have moving into this fall, but also in very small ways around making that decision in the morning time around, I'm going to get these tasks done rather than remaining open around the universe will throw me in whichever direction. These are my priorities. These are my aims. This is the direction that I'm funneling my energy. It makes you less vulnerable to being pulled left and right, again, by other people's motives and what other people desire from you. And knowing sometimes life throws us a curveball. Eclipse season makes that clear, but it's saying, okay, I get pulled off track and I redirect myself back to the target aim. And also knowing as you go into that gala, that anniversary dinner, it's around, I'm staying very focused around, I want to have genuine conversations and I'm not engaging with anyone who is not that. I always say that for Scorpio energy. Again, they have that stinger pointed out towards something, shrewdly and strategically moving towards your desires, because that stinger can go inward. It can be a self-destructive energy. And again, paranoia and fear can be something that is self-destructive. And by the very nature of moving towards what it is that you desire, your energy is fundamentally not accessible for fear to latch on because you're moving in a particular direction. You're moving somewhere. And also in this idea of movement, we do have the planet of physical activity moving in territory it's very favored in. So this is a great opportunity to get back into the gym, to get back on your fitness game, things like this. And it's beyond even just the physical act of working out. It's the power that it gives you. And also just transmuting. Again, things happen that throw us off course. Things happen where we are enraged and we are angry and we are frustrated. And sometimes when we're reacting in an emotional way, that does make our energy more susceptible to be siphoned. Again, if you were to let Candace's comet soak into your being and get very defensive, you're feeding her energy. You're giving her what she wants. And this is going to show up with any sort of dynamic within your world, whether there's somebody within your life who just always makes digs at you, or if you are public in any way and you get certain comments from haters. There's just going to be an energy where people are going to test you and try you to see if you give them what they want, which is your energy. And so also just being conscious of that, if you spend a lot of your time very ensnared in arguing with people online, on Facebook, or commenting on certain TikToks, trying to debate, trying to prove the other person wrong, being very riled up, you are feeding energy. That's why rage bait and certain content that wants to get you very emotionally riled up, you are giving these algorithms, these accounts, what have you, your energy. You're giving them what they want. And so Mars enters Scorpio after midnight. The sun enters Libra midday. The moon's in Libra all day long, aligning with Mercury in Libra. So there could be a lot of conversations with other individuals, or a desire to collaborate, join forces, meeting of the minds. There could be more meetings, sharing, brainstorming, collaborating. Group chat could be on fire. But the energy of Libra is very associated with justice, and it could be very enraging currently, the lack of justice, the injustices of the world. And again, when I say to be mindful of what you're giving your energy to, and especially your emotional energy to with Mars and Scorpio, I'm not saying you should not be mad. Like, there are lots of things to be very fired up about, but your energy is best used putting towards things that will create more fairness and create more justice, rather than debating random people in the comments of something, or doom scrolling and just getting madder and madder and madder. Like, again, there is a focus on fairness and justice, and potentially even having conversations around what could create more fairness, what could create more justice, with the moon aligning with Mercury, and really striving to feed what it is that you do want rather than what it is that you don't want. Like with Mars scoring Pluto, there's going to be so many energy traps this week. It feels like, whether it's coming from haters within your orbit, competitors, so just the darker underbelly of this world. Like, it's just super important to resist feeding into fear and put your energy towards what it is that you desire, or what will move towards more fairness and more justice. On Tuesday, September 23rd, I want to highlight that the Libra sun opposes Neptune shortly before 6 a.m. And I did speak of this yesterday, but I just want you to be conscious around this energy of allowing other people's approval of you to impact your approval of you. Neptune is in Aries. You can sense when someone's not real. You can feel when someone's not real. And sometimes it can make you feel a little crazy, because you'll see, for example, someone super popular online, or like at the company gala, everybody loves Candace. Isn't Candace the best? Isn't Candace the best? And it's not that you need to go on the offense and be like, no, Candace isn't that great. Like, again, that's feeding the darker underbelly energy with Mars squaring Pluto. Like, it's important not to feed more into the dynamic. In fact, starve what's trying to siphon from you. People will see with time. And you can notice this as well with people who are very popular online, where to you, you're like, they're so clearly full of it. This is so clearly not someone genuine. Or within your friend group, let's say they've befriended someone named Genevieve, and you're like, it's so clear Genevieve is fake. Like, why do people not see it? Why do people not see it? And true colors do get revealed in time. And it's important not to gaslight yourself if no one else sees it but you do. Just honor the data and be discerning with it around, if I get an off vibe with Genevieve, I don't need to open up to Genevieve. It's not allowing the voice of other people to be louder than what your inner voice is saying, because that is there for protection. So it's honoring that. It's not allowing that to be dimmed or silenced by other individuals. And sometimes there is a situation where we can clock it and we don't need to allow it to upset us. We don't need to let it soak in. We don't need to make a scene. We could just keep the peace and just like walk away. Just like keep it cute around, okay, noted, your energy is not matching what your words say. Noted, and I'm just going to keep the peace and go over here. And with the energy of Sun opposite Neptune, there could just be an energy where you're very conscious, where someone is performing and where other people could be falling for the performance. And don't feel like you need to waste your precious time and energy telling the people, right? Being the person to do this. You don't need to waste your precious time and energy. Just be intentional around what it is that you desire. Clock the data for yourself. Situationally, sometimes it's appropriate. If you see that your bestie is about to go into business with someone and you've seen red flags, maybe it could be helpful to say, hey, I've noticed something. I just want to bring this up, but it's not feeling you have to get overly entangled with it. As well as knowing that we cannot control how we are perceived. And sometimes when we can sense someone doesn't like us, it digs into that part of us that wants to be liked, that wants to feel validated, that wants to be approved of. So sometimes we play a role around if I'm more this, or if I do more of this, then they'll like me. And again, with Mars squaring Pluto, it keeps us energetically feeding dynamics. Sometimes we can fawn in a certain situation when we really should be fleeing. And that can show up in other ways beyond just, work dinners. If you are a creator around, will they like it if I do this? Will they like it if I do this? Like creating things in this effort around, tell me you like it. Tell me you like me, instead of it being fully authentic to you. So it's just important to be mindful of that and to not feel like other people's distaste of you reflects on you. Some people just won't like you. And the more you can just make peace with that, the more empowered you'll be moving forward. And it can be really frustrating being an intuitive person, which I know a lot of you are, because you can sense a lot of times when someone doesn't like you and it can hurt your feelings. Even if they say the right things, if you're energetically shrewd, you're like, ooh, nope, you don't like me. And it can hurt your feelings sometimes when you feel that from someone, but it's not that you need to get involved. It's not that you need to allow this person to make you think this or that of yourself. It's really coming back to your own authenticity and what you know to be true. Again, within the vibe check, you know the amount of hours the highlights took. You know what your schedule is like. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone, and people will be committed to misunderstanding you. People will be committed to projecting on you or assuming things about you, and you're going to waste your precious time and energy trying to write the narrative. Let people think what they want. Let people assume what they want. Let people feel about you the way that they want. The ask this week is to not play into it or to feel less than because of that. Step within your authenticity. The best way to call in the people, places, things, and opportunities that are fully for you is to be you. And being you means having some Candaces, people who just don't like you. No matter what you do, no matter how much you perform or how hard you try, there are people who will be committed to misunderstanding you and committed to not liking you. And it's just important to be like, it is what it is. Other people's lukewarm response to me is not an invitation for me to try harder. And for those of you who are dating, again, mixed messages, that's a no. Saying one thing, doing another, that's a no. Teach yourself to get icked out when someone is breadcrumbing you or when someone is making you feel like you have to perform or try harder. That is an ick. That is an ick. But unfortunately, it plays into parts of our psychology where we feel like we have to perform in order to deserve love or try in order to secure the validation that we so deeply crave. It digs into a very primal instinctive part of us, and it can literally make you feel, as I highlighted earlier, it can make your nervous system feel like you are fundamentally not safe. And those are not individuals that you need to be around. I think there is something to be said this week around trusting yourself. That's how you sharpen your intuition. That's how you allow it to be your sharpest tool with Mars and Scorpio, is trusting yourself, is being discerning with it, not gaslighting yourself, not overriding yourself, not convincing yourself that it's butterflies when it's really just your nervous system. Like, what the hell is happening? This person makes me feel unsafe. I, like many others, have had certain experiences where it's like, I knew this was a snake. Like, I knew I didn't like how the person moved, but I allowed logic around, well, they haven't done anything yet. And, oh, you're so in your head about it. And other people say, well, maybe they're a snake, but they're such a nice snake and they haven't done that to me. I allowed all of that to rose-colored my way towards getting bit by a snake. And it can be so frustrating when you knew the whole time. You're like, I saw the way that person was slithering. I saw their little things. But it's knowing that the snake bite will heal. Okay, if any of you are navigating a betrayal, someone who has hurt you, someone who has digged at you, or someone who's just nasty, With Mars squaring Pluto, it's knowing that it hurts when someone sinks their teeth into us. The snake bite will heal, and you are shrewder and more intelligent moving forward. Like I highlighted earlier, sometimes we get into self-protective mode where it's like, I'm not open to any animals out there because I've been bitten by a snake, but then you're going to lose out on adorable cats and pigs and like lovely animals out there. You just have to trust your intuition around, if it's slithering like a snake, it's a snake. And I learned my lesson from this. I'm going to skirt. I'm going to be shrewd like Mars and Scorpio and avoid this because I've been hurt before. I've been burned before. But that does not mean that I'm out for the count. Mars squaring Pluto, I simply reinvented myself, transformed, and kept going. And it's being even intentional with that. I will prevail. I will survive. I will get through that. And with the energy of Sun opposite Neptune, I just want to highlight in light of our little snake analogy. You know, sometimes when we are not liked, we want answers of why. You know, why? We don't know why Candace is so nasty and why she does the things that she does every single anniversary dinner. And again, some people could look at that and be like, oh, that's not so bad. And it wasn't necessarily. It's not that Candace bit you. That would be a little crazy. The company dinner party. Sometimes we don't know why someone doesn't like us. Sometimes we don't know why someone manipulated us or why someone betrayed us. But we make it a us thing. We chase the snake around asking why it bit us and trying to psychoanalyze it around why did it bite us when it's just like, okay, that's a snake. You know, with Mars squaring Pluto, it's important to be on guard for the darker forces of this world. And, you know, I am someone who strives to be very positive. I am someone who really strives to see the best in people and see the best in life. And there are so many kind, genuine souls that I have gotten to connect with and I feel so deeply grateful for. But there are some experiences that you have that really awaken you to the real nature of this planet and of this experience. And after you've been awakened to that, you cannot go back. In a sense, you cannot go back. You can grieve the version of you who is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and believe the best in everyone, but there's no returning back to from whence you came. And that is also showing up just after the eclipses. There could just be an energy around life is so different now. Life is so different now. And we could grieve the version of ourselves before we knew certain things, before we have certain changes, but there's almost an energy around all I can do at this point is move forward. All I can do at this point is proceed forward. All I can do at this point is pick myself back up and make that decision. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to survive this. And it's not allowing the darker forces of this world to consume you, to destroy you. Just be cautious next time. If you've been bit by a snake, you will recover. You are more resilient than you realize. The venom does subside, but it's making that decision around, I will get through this, and not allowing it to weave into your own way of seeing yourself. That's also a danger with Sun opposite Neptune around, well, I guess I'm just snake food. I guess just the snakes want to bite me. I guess I'm just not good enough. And that's why the snake bit me. The snake bit you because the snake is a snake. You don't need to psychoanalyze the snake. You don't need to get in your mind around, why doesn't Candace like me? Is it this? Is it that? You just need to acknowledge, I'm getting energy I don't like. Let me put my energy elsewhere. The snake bit me because I was there and it's a snake. And you don't need to weave it into your own way of being yourself. You don't need to feed the darker forces within this world. Like I said, with Mars squaring Pluto, there are entities and people who benefit when you are feeling helpless and hopeless. And so it's important to take the lesson. If you have been bit by a snake, if you have been deceived, if you have been manipulated, decide that you will prevail. Decide that you will win. Decide that you will win. And winning does not mean going back to conquer the snake. Winning does not mean chopping all of Candace's hair off, because that's feeding more evil and bad in the world. Winning is living your best life. Winning is not feeding the darker forces any of your precious energy. Winning is living a beautiful life. Like, that is true revenge. Okay. If any of you have been deceived, manipulated, betrayed in any way, the best revenge is a life well lived. And I know with Mars and Scorpio, especially squaring Pluto, sometimes we could have deep rage around, how could that snake bite me? And how could Candace say that? And how could Candace say that to my spouse in front of me? Like, that seething rage beneath the surface, it can make us want to attack. It can make us want to defend, but it's keeping your eye on the prize with Mars and Scorpio around, what am I feeding right now? How can I alchemize this rage and frustration into something that will behoove me and behoove my own desires? And so it's not taking it personally if people don't like you. It's not wondering why people don't like you. It's not feeling like you have to play a role until people like you. Sometimes a snake is a snake. You could be this wonderful, kind, well-rounded person, and someone will still just look at you like you are just bare skin for them to sink their fangs into. You don't need to take it personally. And also tonight we have that Grand Air Trine. So the Libra sun trines Uranus in Gemini and trines Pluto in Aquarius. So observe the people who are coming into your orbit. Observe the interesting, unique people who are coming into your orbit, as well as the people who inspire you to be your own weirdest self with the energy of the Libra sun trining Uranus and Gemini. Like when you're talking with Marquise at the company dinner, the two of you are eating shrimp and you're talking about the weird music that you make on the side after your 9 to 5. And Marquise is about it, right? Sometimes when you have deviations from the socially acceptable thing to do and conversation to talk about, we get to have fun and be free to express ourselves and to have genuine conversation because of that. Like sometimes we all feel like we have to play this role around what people expect us to be, that we forget that really what we have to do is be ourselves. And there will be individuals at the dinner party who are like, that's so weird that you make that sort of music during your off time. But then there's people like Marquise who are delighted. And when we stop trying to perform, when we stop trying to conform, we give other people permission to be themselves as well. Like if we all just drop the mask, imagine how freeing it would be to just be able to connect human to human. And with the Libra sun trining Pluto, also paying attention to who you feel more powerful around. Noticing where you feel less in your power. Again, every time you left a conversation with Candace, you were kind of like inward. You felt weird. You're like, do they like me? Do they hate me? Versus talking to Trisha and Marquise, you feel powerful. You feel invigorated. And so it's being open to connections that can make you feel that. Because again, if we've been burned, if we've been bit, we could be like, nope, I'm not open for any sort of conversation. I'm just going to be at this company dinner party in the corner like this. But then we'd be missing out. People can be powerful portals to help us regenerate, whether it's our confidence, our courage. This could also be showing up around if life's gotten you down. This could be like going out for a fun night with your friends or having a game night, or going to trivia, something like that, where you're just around other individuals and it doesn't take away the problem or the battles that you are experiencing. Something around being in the presence of other people that makes you feel like it's all going to be okay. You know, there's something to be said around a medicinal hang with the besties or a trip to spend time with family. Like there's power in connection fusing together. So when you close yourself out to connection, you miss out on that. And of course, as I highlighted, it's tricky. And sometimes we go through a season of life where we are like, I don't know who is to be trusted, because I didn't listen to myself when I was seeing how that person was slithering and they looked like a snake to me, but I let everybody else be louder and I just decided to get in close and I got bit and I knew I was going to get bit. So I don't trust myself. So I'm just locking myself off to everyone. There comes a period in time in healing where we start to open up to the idea of connection, to the idea of working together. You know, if you've gone through any sort of like betrayal trauma, you know that it does make you feel so unsteady. You don't know who is safe, so you assume everyone is dangerous. And when I was in that space, I was hesitant to let anyone in, even to my business. Like I knew I needed an editor, but I had been hurt so badly and betrayed so deeply by somebody that I trusted that I was like, well, I clearly can't trust anyone ever again with any part of me. Yeah, it's just video files, but it just makes you feel so raw and so scared and so defensive. And I think it is part of healing. If anyone's there, I do think it's just like part of the journey that you're just in that space of protection and you do slowly and surely come out of your shell. I'm grateful to be out of my shell now, just with stronger discernment. After you've been burned like that, you can't go backwards. You can't be who you were prior, but you do have discernment. And I know that collaboration, connection, that's where we fuse together. That's where we join forces. I mean, having an editor has really invaded my life, and I would have been missing out on that had I remained closed of heart and of mind. And so it's remaining open to unique connections with the trine Uranus, to powerful connections, as well as connections that make you feel like the truest and most powerful version of you. I want to just highlight on Tuesday, the moon's in Libra all day. With the energy of Libra moon, there is a focus around balance, harmonizing, where yes, we may need to, work, get our tasks done. Venus, Libra's ruler, is in Virgo after all, but balancing off the work and the tasks with a long walk in the park and a picnic, like remembering to enjoy our life, remembering to balance balance, the hermiting with the connecting, remembering to balance the nutrition with the having a little fun. There really is an energy around all things in moderation when it comes to Libra season. The Libra moon does square Jupiter in Cancer. So interesting that I brought up moderation, because sometimes this can be an energy of excess of sweets, excess of chatting with the coworkers, so much that it's taking you away from your tasks. And then there can be a little bit of an ouch that comes up in the evening time with the Libra moon opposite Chiron in Aries. This exacts at 5:50, which just could have this energy around feeling lonely, feeling misunderstood. Again, there will be people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You know your heart, you know your intentions. Trying to prove yourself to others is a waste of your energy. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt to be misunderstood in some sort of way. That doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. You can understand some people won't like me while still feeling the hurt around, why don't they like me? On Wednesday, September 24th, the headline of today's astrology, even though it reverberates all week long, is that Mars in Scorpio will square Pluto in Aquarius. Let's get into this. This aspect is a bit sinister. It is a bit nefarious. We don't particularly like to see Mars squaring Pluto in a harsh aspect. And I'm all around co-creative astrology. It's never my intention to fearmonger or anything of that nature. It's actually going to be very important not to be scared this week. Being scared makes you easily manipulated. Being emotionally incensed makes you easily manipulated. And with the square to Pluto in Aquarius, you need to be mindful of who is trying to manipulate you, okay? With Mars squaring Pluto, there could be some tension alive. There even could be themes of violence alive, conflict alive, anger alive. With Mars squaring Pluto, it speaks to deep-seated rage, frustration, envy. Again, other people coveting what it is that you have, and you coveting what other people have. Pluto is a planet that governs psychology. And it's also just knowing that sometimes people will attack us, come for us because of what they are not happy with in their own lives. They will see you as merely an outlet to put the hatred and rage that they deal with on the day-to-day. Like, I know it's not easy to do this when someone is coming for you or hating on you, but it's knowing that that is a reflection of what exists within them. And the best thing that you can do is just wish them well. Again, feed them nothing, but wish them well, because that is indicative of where they are with their lives. And there's going to be a lot of individuals who will tempt you this week to sink to their level around Candace is being a hater, so I'm going to try to one-up her, or this commenter came for me, so I'm going to debate them in the comments. Again, you're just feeding more of the nastiness. And it's going to be very important to alchemize the energy. Take the frustration of seeing that hate comment and put it into creating more content. Take the frustration of that weird situation with Candace and put it into a great workout. Take the frustration of your boss trying to undermine you and one-up you and put it into the energy around starting your own business. Use that energy as fuel. Do not allow your anger to be siphoned from you. Do not allow your fear to be siphoned from you. Again, those are two energetic states that make us more susceptible for our energy to be harvested, for other people to siphon our energy from us. It's going to be important to strive to remain in a state of energetic and emotional neutrality, not denying your emotions. Again, if you got to scream into a pillow, scream into a pillow, but it's not reacting from that place of rage or fear. It's just striving to note the data and remain neutral, to move energy towards what it is that you desire and to starve what it is that you do not desire. It's going to be important because people could just be trying to fight with you. People could be trying to fight with you. People could be trying to one-up with you. People could have road rage. People could just be competitive for no reason. And you just need to not engage. I am not engaging. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm talking to somebody else at the dinner party. No, thank you. I don't need to read this particular comment. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. And it's interesting because, Mars square Pluto, it can be very powerful. I want you to hold that vision. I actually have this within my birth chart, just opposite signs. So I have Mars in Aquarius squaring Pluto in Scorpio. And I remember that was one of the astrological placements that I learned of first within my birth chart. I don't know why that was like one of the first ones that I learned about, but it was. And I was at a very young age. I should not have been reading about the intricacies of Mars squaring Pluto. I remember reading it and being like, oh my God, I didn't realize this darkness existed within me. Because in its shadow side, Mars square Pluto could be vindictive. It could be feeling rageful. It could be getting what you want at all costs. And those are not words that I identify with, nor energy that I ever strive to feed within my life. So I want to share how I've navigated this aspect, because maybe all of us can tap into this energy this week with Mars squaring Pluto. For me, with Mars square Pluto, whenever someone tells me that I cannot do something, I automatically know I'm going to do it. They've just handed me the fuel necessary in order to make that happen. Like Mars squaring Pluto can be using your pettiness to your own advantage around, oh, you said I can't do that? Watch and see. And using that as fuel and being even more insistent around, this is what I desire just because you said that I can't do it. And also, every time I've been hurt, betrayed, done dirty, I level up right after. That experience and the anger that it generates turns into fuel to move towards my next era, towards my next come up every single time. And so it's training your brain to see it that way around, if someone does you dirty, well, you've left me no option. Now I have to get even more successful, even more creatively fulfilled, even more at peace. You've left me no choice. Allow me to alchemize all of this frustration and rage that this situation prompted and put it towards my goals, my intentions. And that's really the focus with Mars squaring Pluto, is being very intentional. That's really the focus this week, staying focused on what it is that you desire, knowing that people will come for you all of the time. Use the energy they throw as alchemy towards your own aims. I do not engage with haters. I do not engage with people who try to be weird or competitive with me. I do not engage with people who have betrayed me or who've done me dirty. I simply turn it into fuel in order to continue being my best self. And that's what I've done every single time. And I know this aspect would look differently if I allowed the rage to consume me, if I allowed how people have treated me to turn me into a hateful person. I understand that this aspect can be sinister, but for me, it's simply forced me to learn my willpower and my ability to get what it is that I desire, no matter who tries to hold me back. And I think it's also important with Mars squaring Pluto to stay strong within your integrity. Mars squaring Pluto can be an energy around, I will get what I desire no matter who I have to trample over, no matter what I have to do, I'll get what I desire. And again, I am advocating for deliberate intent this week, but it's also being very intentional around the ends do not justify the means. If you trample over someone, if you manipulate someone, if you take advantage of someone, you have to live with that. So it's, yes, being intentional on what you want, but also being very intentional on what you will or will not do to get it. Because again, with Sun opposite Neptune, sometimes balance can get limited. So it's very important to be very firm in who you are, unwavering and unyielding when it comes to your integrity and what it is that you desire, and not allowing yourself to be corrupted. Just because people have hurt you does not give you permission to hurt others. I think this aspect in its shadowiest form could be you becoming the villain because of how people have treated you or hurt you or taken advantage of you. And I think you have to be very clear. I refuse to be the villain. I refuse to hurt people just because I've been hurt. I refuse to take advantage of people just because I've been taken advantage of. I will choose, despite the darkness that I have been exposed to within my life, I will continue to be the light. I'll be so intentional on that. I will not be consumed by this. I will purely use it as fuel. As well as knowing, for any of you who are in a competitive industry or you're part of a sport, if someone is trying to get in your head or trying to intimidate you, again, use it fuel, win your own race, stay focused. Don't allow people to pull you off track. Don't allow people to pull you into their game. Play your own game, win your own race. That is the Mars square Pluto energy. And if you feel like you are overwhelmed and inundated with just the darker shadow sides of this world and just anger and conflict and violence, it's going to be important to protect your energy, especially with Sun opposite Neptune yesterday. Sometimes this can make us more sensitive. So be very discerning how much media you're exposing yourself to, how much social media you're exposing yourself to, what you are feeding yourself energetically, especially if you feel yourself overcome by fear, by paranoia, by hatred, by rage. That's an invitation to get into your physical body, get out in nature, look people in the eye, remind yourself of the goodness and the kindness and humanity. Refuse to become jaded and corrupt by this world. Like, choose to be a beacon of light in a dark world would really be the encouragement here. And we can't be the light if we don't refresh the light. So if you feel like your light's getting dim, you're just inundated with information and people's stuff and all of these things, it's time to recharge the light. And the moon enters Scorpio at 2 a.m. The moon gets involved in this Mars squaring Pluto party, squaring off with Pluto and aligning with Mars in the morning. So definitely great morning for a workout, a really intense workout. Again, anything that you're mad about, put it into a workout. Take a kickboxing class, get it out of your body. And there could just be an energy where people are testy, people are angry, people want to fight with you. Your partner people want to fight with you, whether it's online, whether it's at work, whether it's your partner. There could just be a tense vibe in the air. And just remember, it's Libra season. Like, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Like, come back to that, especially with the moon in Scorpio sextile Venus in Virgo around 3 p.m. Two placements in territories that they are not dignified in. The moon is in its fall in Scorpio. Venus is in its fall in Virgo. The sun is in its fall in Libra. A lot of the planets are kind of going through it right now. So if you feel like you're going through it, you're not alone. But with the energy of the Scorpio moon, sextile Venus and Virgo, this could be an energy around, again, choosing to see the good in a situation, or even if you feel out of control with big picture things, getting out in nature, getting a workout, meal prepping, doing something that benefits your day to day can help you to feel more empowered. On Thursday, September 25th, the moon is in Scorpio all day long, trining Jupiter in Cancer at 10:06 p.m. So you can feel this watery trine building, which can be an expansion, for better and worse, of our emotional body. Again, there could be a lot of emotions flowing at this moment, but being very mindful what you are directing your energy towards. Again, emotions are energy. They can be funneled into art. They could be funneled into a workout. They could be funneled into cleaning your home and connecting with your partner and things like that. So it's being very mindful where you are feeding things that don't really matter to you around, why am I getting so triggered and so mad at this media outlet that doesn't even know if I exist? Or why am I getting so mad at user 5256? Like, it's coming back to what really matters is the energy of the Scorpio moon trining Jupiter in Cancer. There can be a focus on security, wanting to feel safe. I want to feel safe. I want to feel secure. I want to feel at home. So there can be an energy around retreating or withdrawing into environments or people that feel safe to you. That could just be a comfort show that you watch, or a comfort meal that you make when you're going through a time of change, or that comfort person that you spend time with that just makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. Again, there's something we said this week around deliberate intent, making that decision. I will get through this. I will survive. Everything is going to be okay. I'm going to ensure that is so. With the square to Pluto, no matter how many times I have to get back up again, no matter how many times I have to begin again, I will be okay. Friday, September 26th, the moon is in Scorpio for the first portion of the day, trining Saturn in Pisces. So it could be a productive morning. Again, being laser focused in a particular project. Yes, when we have Plutonian weeks, there could be a temptation around getting obsessed in something, but this could be getting obsessed in a project, being laser focused. If you feel yourself being pulled out or other people wanting you to do this or that, it's returning your focus back to, this is my aim, this is my intention, this is what I'm going to get accomplished today. The moon enters Sagittarius at 2:37 p.m. So there could be the spirit of adventure, exploration, dreaming of different adventures you want to take. With the Sagittarius moon trining Neptune in Aries, you may feel a bit restless, especially if you're still working, with the Sagittarius moon opposite Uranus in Gemini around 5 p.m., wanting something different. You could get a spontaneous invitation that you say yes to. And with the Sagittarius moon sextile Pluto in Aquarius and sextile the Libra sun, it could be a very invigorating evening if you're open to adventure, if you're open to some fun. On Saturday, September 27th, there could be a little bit of a battle around, I want to have fun, I want to explore, I want to get out of the house, versus, ooh, I should fix this, and ooh, I should meal prep, ooh, I should attend to this. With the Sagittarius moon squaring Venus in Virgo, there could be a battle around, I want to feel free, I want to adventure, I want to have fun, but like with Venus in Virgo being like, well, these dishes aren't going to do themselves, and this laundry isn't going to do itself. And the answer comes down to, it's Libra season, balance out the very serious arenas of your life? The answer is yes. Have experiences this weekend that are fun, that get you out of your comfort zone, that open you up to adventure, while also honoring with Venus and Virgo, there is a particular pleasure in getting things done and taking care of your stuff and taking care of your home and taking care of your tasks and taking care of your body. So really balance out the desire to try new things and experience new things with the desire of maintenance and duty. On Sunday, September 28th, the Sagittarius moon sextiles Mercury in Libra shortly after midnight. So you absolutely could have felt this last night as well, around wanting to talk about new topics and explore into various arenas, being not satisfied with the superficial. You know, sometimes when we walk away from frenemy dynamics or hater dynamics or competitive dynamics or just like catty dynamics, however that shows up, we recognize, why was I feeding so much energy to that in this big, beautiful world where I could be talking about music with Marquise, when I could be laughing with Trisha? Why was I spending so much of my precious time trying to earn approval from someone who doesn't even approve of themselves? Like, why? And you also just could be recognizing where you're bored of certain conversations, where you're bored of certain topics. You want to talk about new things. You want to expand outside of the gossip. There just could be a nudge of that alive currently. I do want to say you could hit a wall Sunday night. This is giving very Sunday scaries with the Sagittarius moon squaring Saturn in Pisces, around recognizing, I meant to do this week, or I have this meeting this upcoming week, or because I was so spontaneous, I forgot to attend to this, or I forgot to attend to this. You could just feel a little limited, or just an energy around, I want to feel free. I want to have fun. I wish I wasn't so suffocated by responsibilities and things that I have to do. And again, perspective is important. You know, you could have viewed within the vibe check this dinner as something that you had to do. You know, I have to go to my spouse's company dinner. Like, I have to support them. I get to support my partner. I get to be a supportive partner. I get to go into this event and have this intent around, I'm going to have genuine conversations. I'm going to support my partner and be open to invigorating conversations. And just knowing that it is a gift to have things that we have to take care of. It's a gift to have someone to commit to. It's a gift to have a home to maintain. And knowing that on the other side of every manifestation is new challenges and responsibilities that await us in getting what it is that we want. We may want our business to grow, but are we ready for the drawbacks and consequences around having to spend more time to support it? We may call in a new partner, but are we ready for the necessary sacrifices we have to make for said partner? It's like everything that we desire does have drawbacks and consequences, commitments or responsibilities, or sometimes not feeling as free to do what we want because we have this flourishing business, because we have this relationship, because we have this friendship. The other side of what you desire will entail responsibility to it, commitments to it, and emphasis of maintaining it. It's just important how you view it. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week to support you as you navigate is, I put my energy towards what I desire. Again, what I desire, not for what other people desire from me. Again, when we don't make up our mind, when we don't decide what we want, we make ourselves vulnerable to simply playing into what other people want from us. When we drift through life, that makes us a target for other people to pull us into their aims and their intentions and their motives. When you have defined your own aims and your own intentions and your own desires, it just makes you less susceptible to play into other people's. And it just makes you very mindful when other people try to pull your energy towards their aims, when you remain very intentional, unwavering, and unyielding towards yours. So my loves, that is our week. The emoji of the week to let me know that you made it to the end, go ahead and drop below the emoji that makes you think of Libra energy. Let's celebrate Libra season by dropping below the emoji that seems like Libra. Maybe it's the scale for you. Maybe it's a heart. I would love to know. Or if you don't have emojis, just use the word Libra in a sentence. Let me know that you made it to the end. These sportcasts are a bit long, so we like to play a little game to see who's listening to the end. My Instagram handle is at Haley Comet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. Apologies if my energy was a little low in this forecast. / if in between edits I was very red. I've been coughing, just recovering from this sickness that feels like it will not go away, but in due time. I'm sending you all lots of love. I'm sending you all lots of protection and good energy. Mars square Pluto is pretty sinister. It's pretty intense. I never strive to inspire any fear here. I just really want to encourage you all to remain discerning, remain mindful, remain intentional, and remain in your personal power. Because again, when you are in your personal power, when you are strong, when you are motivated, when you are intentional with your energy, you are so much less subject to being manipulated or to feeding the darker forces of this world. So until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.